As the nights get longer and the air gets a little crisper, you know what time it is. Halloween season. But beyond the spooky costumes and mountains of candy, have you ever wondered where all these traditions come from? Today, we're diving into some of the most unbelievable, creepy, and downright funny facts about Halloween that you probably never knew. So grab your pumpkin spice latte. We'll get to that later. And let's get spooky. First up, let's talk origins. Halloween isn't just an American invention for selling candy. Its roots go way, way back to an ancient Celtic festival called Samhain. Pronounced Samhain, this festival marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, or what they called the darker half of the year. The Celts believed that on the night of Samhain, the veil between the living and the dead was at its thinnest, allowing spirits to walk the earth. To ward off the unfriendly ghosts, they'd light massive bonfires and wear costumes made of animal heads and skins. So yeah, your cute cat costume has some pretty intense origins. So how did we get from Samhain to Halloween? It's all in the name. As Christianity spread, it started blending with pagan traditions. The church established November 1st as All Saints' Day, also known as All Hallows' Day. The night before, October 31st, naturally became All Hallows' Eve. Over time, All Hallows' Eve was shortened and slurred together to become the word we all know and love, Halloween. Now, what's Halloween without a grinning, glowing jack-o'-lantern on your porch? But here's a shocker. They weren't originally made from pumpkins. This tradition started in Ireland with a spooky folktale about a man named Stingy Jack who tricked the devil. When Jack died, he was barred from both heaven and hell, doomed to wander the earth with only a burning coal inside a carved-out turnip to light his way. The Irish would carve scary faces into their own turnips, potatoes, and beets to frighten away Jack's wandering soul. When Irish immigrants came to America, they found that pumpkins were way bigger and a whole lot easier to carve, and thus, the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern was born. Imagine trying to carve a beet. No thanks. Let's talk about some classic Halloween symbols. Black cats, right? The ultimate witchy sidekick. But they weren't always seen as bad luck. In ancient Egypt, cats, including black ones, were considered sacred. They were believed to bring good fortune and were so revered that harming one was a capital crime. It wasn't until the Middle Ages in Europe that they got their bad rap, becoming associated with witches and bad omens. So next time a black cat crosses your path, remember it might just be bringing you some ancient Egyptian good luck. Speaking of spooky things, do you ever get a little too scared during Halloween? Like an irrational level of fear? Well, that fear actually has a name. Samhainophobia. Yep, the clinical term for an intense fear of Halloween comes directly from that ancient Celtic festival. It's a real phobia causing anxiety and panic attacks for some people. It just goes to show how deeply these ancient traditions still affect us today. Okay, let's lighten the mood with something a little sweeter. Candy corn. You either love it or you hate it, but did you know what it was originally called? When it was invented in the 1880s by the Wunderle Candy Company, it was marketed as chicken feed. Back then, about half of America worked on farms, so a candy shaped like corn kernels was a clever, rustic novelty. It was even sold in boxes with a rooster on the front. So next time you grab a handful, just remember you're eating vintage chicken feed. Delicious. And where did we get the idea to go door to door begging for that chicken feed? This comes from a medieval practice called souling. On All Hallows' Eve, poor people, especially children, would go from house to house offering prayers for the souls of a family's dead relatives. In exchange, they'd be given soul cakes, which were small, round cakes. Each cake eaten was said to represent a soul freed from purgatory. This tradition of going door to door in exchange for treats evolved over centuries into the trick-or-treating we do today, now for a myth that needs busting. For decades, parents have warned their kids about the horrifying danger of finding razor blades or poison in their Halloween candy. It's a terrifying thought that has sparked widespread panic. But here's the truth. According to experts who have studied this for years, there has never been a single verified case of a stranger randomly handing out tampered candy that caused serious harm. The stories that did exist were almost always hoaxes, or tragically, caused by a family member. So while you should always check your candy, the evil stranger myth is just that, a myth. So, with that fear out of the way, what candy are we all hoping to get? So with that fear out of the way, what candy are we all hoping to get? If you guessed Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, you are correct. Year after year, sales data shows that Reese's Cups are the most popular Halloween candy in the United States. That perfect combination of chocolate and peanut butter just can't be beat. Sorry, candy corn. Let's travel south to Mexico, where a vibrant and beautiful celebration takes place around the same time, Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead. While they happen close together and both honor spirits, they are distinct holidays. Dia de los Muertos, celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, is a joyful celebration of life and memory. Families create elaborate altars, or ofrendas, with photos, favorite foods, and marigolds to welcome the souls of their deceased loved ones back for a brief reunion. It's less about fear and more about love, family, and remembrance. Back to the creepy stuff. Ever wondered why owls are so linked with Halloween? In medieval Europe, owls were seen as creatures of the night, and their hooting was thought to be a dark omen. People believed that witches could transform into owls, and hearing an owl's call meant someone was about to die. Their silent flight and nocturnal nature made them perfect symbols for the spooky and unknown. Poor owls, they're actually pretty cool birds. And what about our classic Halloween color scheme? Orange and black are everywhere. But why? It's not just because they look good together. The colors are symbolic, tying back to Samhain. Orange represents the autumn harvest, the color of pumpkins, changing leaves, and the fire from the bonfires. Black, on the other hand, symbolizes the death of summer, darkness, and the long, cold winter ahead. So you're basically decorating with the theme of harvest and death, cheery, right? All right, I have to ask, who here has a pumpkin spice latte in their hand right now? It's the official drink of autumn. But here's a mind-blowing fact for you. Pumpkin spice contains no actual pumpkin. Zero. The name refers to the blend of spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, ginger, and cloves, that are traditionally used to flavor pumpkin pie. The flavor became so iconic that now we just associate that spice mix with pumpkin, even when there's none in sight. Your whole autumn might be a lie. Let's switch gears to horror movies. The iconic, terrifying mask worn by Michael Myers in the 1978 classic Halloween. What if I told you it was actually Captain Kirk? The production budget was extremely low, so the crew bought a William Shatner Captain Kirk mask from a costume shop for about $2. They spray-painted it white, teased out the hair, and widened the eye holes. And just like that, one of the most frightening masks in cinema history was born from the face of a Starfleet captain. Live long and prosper, and stay away from my house. Have you ever noticed that a full moon on Halloween night seems to be a staple in every spooky movie? In reality, it's incredibly rare. A full moon happens on October 31st only about once every 19 years. The last one was in 2020, and the next one won't happen again until 2039. So if you get to experience a Halloween with a genuine full moon, consider yourself lucky, or unlucky depending on how you look at it. You might think trick-or-treating has always been fun and games, but in the 1950s it was almost banned in some parts of the United States. During the post-war era, Halloween became associated with vandalism and pranks that got out of hand, often called juvenile delinquency. Some communities tried to organize wholesome alternatives like parades and parties to keep kids out of trouble. Thankfully, the tradition of trick-or-treating survived and became the family-friendly event we know today. And what about witches? The image of the cackling, green-skinned villain is burned into our minds. But the word witch hasn't always meant evil. It's derived from the Old English word Wicca, which meant wise one. Wiccans were often healers, herbalists, and respected members of their communities who understood nature and medicine. It was only later that propaganda and fear turned the wise one into a malevolent sorcerer. Here's one to make you think twice before you grab a broom. A common superstition says that if you see a spider on Halloween night, it's actually the spirit of a deceased loved one watching over you. So maybe don't squish that spider in the corner of your room. It could be your great-great-aunt Mildred just saying hi. It's a comforting thought or a really creepy one. I'll let you decide. Finally, let's talk haunted houses. The commercial haunted houses we love today have a surprising origin: the Great Depression. As a way to distract young pranksters and vandals from causing real trouble, parents and community groups started creating their own makeshift haunted trails and spooky houses in their basements. It was a cheap and effective form of entertainment that kept kids occupied. Over the decades, this simple idea grew into the multi-million-dollar haunted attraction industry we have today. So there you have it. From turnip lanterns and chicken feed to Captain Kirk masks and wise witches, Halloween is so much more than meets the eye. I hope you learned something new and have a newfound appreciation for this spooky season. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed these facts, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Let me know in the comments which facts surprised you the most. Stay safe, have fun, and have a very happy Halloween. See you next time.